In this video, I'm going to walk you through lesson 7 of unit P1 from Open SciEd. Okay, so we're going to jump into this lesson and navigate into the lesson by thinking about how insufficient supply could have affected energy transfer to certain parts of the community. And so we're going to model in a small group what we think happened. And we're going to push students to really think about how they can quantify the energy in their models and how they can explain how that insufficient energy affected certain communities. Why were there blackouts? And then students will share their ideas as a class while the teacher will make the consensus model. And what we're realizing is that we really don't know how limited supply is distributed during a crisis. We need to investigate that a little bit more. So we bring back the electric city, which was done in lesson 2, and we're going to test some of our ideas. Now, I talk a bit about this in the materials prep, how to set up electric city. It has a different setup with an ammeter, and you're going to connect some of the wires together. So you can show when you turn off an area of a city that more energy gets distributed to the other parts of the city. And so we're going to set up, this is what it looks like. Let me open it up so that you'll see that you have a hand crank generator as your energy source. You will have to test this to see how fast you crank it and what your values are going to be. Looks like about the value of about 2 should show you a normal situation, and then the storm would be much less than that. So you need to see what your value would be to have the lights not go on when all 3 areas are connected. But then when you turn off the switches for a couple of them, let's say the factories and the houses, then all of the energy gets distributed to area 2 where the hospital is. And we make that decision as a class because, of course, we want to keep the lights on at the hospital. And so we realize that if you distribute all the energy to one area, then the lights go on. So we talk about how people needed to make choices about how to keep the light on. And here is the video that will walk you through it and show you how this is done. And your values might be a little bit different than this because of your hand crank generator, but this will give you a lot of information right there. We then discuss human decision making and why people would choose to distribute electricity in different ways in different parts of the community. We talk about fairness and ethics, and we do it quick, right? This is actually towards the end of the lesson, and we're talking about what we need to do to keep the electrical lights on in the hospital and how would we make these decisions? How do you think power companies make these decisions? And so we make a prediction and we actually project an app called CodeApp. Now, CodeApp, let me open it up for you, already has the data uploaded into it. Now, if you want to make a copy of this, just come over here and click Save, and you will get a copy in your Google Drive. You can connect it to your Google Drive and just click Save, and then you can manipulate it if you want. I will tell you that this is quite the outlier. We have changed this when I was working with some teachers. It looks like it has 206% is out, which is obviously not correct. So I would probably change that number or remove that row to get rid of that outlier. So if I did that, this scatter plot's going to take more of the area that's shown here. And the way you play with this, and this is going to be in their handout, is you're going to take any of these and you drag and drop them to the x-axis to see if you can find any patterns. So do we see a pattern with hospitals? Do we see a pattern with the population? And so we look to see if we can find any patterns that could show how these decisions were made. So students are going to, once you demo this, we make some conclusions, but students are going to do this on their own. This is the handout that they'll use. The link is in there to CodeApp, and there is an answer key for you, of course. And then we discuss the limitations of the data set. There is a slide to support you on this, but the big conclusion is that we can't see any patterns because there is a limitation in that we're looking at counties. And we aren't really sure how the electricity was distributed within the county. It wasn't turned off county by county. It must have a different way of turning off to different areas of the community. And so we think about patterns that we might find within a county and there is an image that shows the percentage off per county, and we add what we have figured out to our progress tracker. But right now, counties are not really showing us how the energy was distributed, and so we still need to think a little bit more about what's happening here in the next lesson.